Well, good morning, Rue. How are you on this Friday morning?
Lisa, good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Nice to see you. I can't believe that the Employee Retention Summit's only 3 days away. So you're my last live interview before the big event happens, and I'm really happy that you're here.
I'm super excited about it. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for all the work you put into getting it done.
Yeah.
I know,
Well,
I know it took a ton.
yeah. It definitely did. A little bit of a break is coming after this, to say the least.
Good.
We think about employee retention and we have several manufacturers represented. You spent 30 years with General Mills. And sometimes the comments that I hear is that, oh, those big companies, they have all kinds of money. They can afford to invest in all of these things. I'm just a little guy. I can't do it. But in the conversations that you and I have had, a lot of the things that you did with building the culture in your plant at General Mills didn't really cost any money at all. So I want you to give just a glimpse of some of the things we talked about and some of the things that you did over at the culture there.
So Lisa, thanks for having me on. But I'll say this, that retention is really important to a business, because if you lose people, you start getting in a habit or cycle of having to train and retrain and retrain. And the more you go down that ladder, if you will, the less technical and the less skilled your people become, because you get in a pattern of hurrying through it. So the intent here is to keep them. And I'm really proud to say, in my last role at General Mills, our retention rate, our on-time retention rate was in the 1% range. We just didn't lose people. And if we did, every one of those instances came to me, and we'd wonder why people left our organization. We felt that good about it. And
Wow.
some of the reasons where I'll never forget, a kid came and he said, I've worked really hard for many, many years, and the company's been great to me, but my dream is always to be a firefighter. And so it wasn't about money. It was just about being a firefighter. And this was his childhood dream. And so we weren't the people to stand in his way to leave the organization, become a firefighter. And he's doing great, and I still keep in contact with him. But there are some components of this thing that cost money. There's a lot of components that don't. So a lot of components that don't cost a lot of money are things like rewards and recognition. Making people feel like they're valued on a daily basis. So leaders being, on the floor, making sure they're saying hello to folks. And if they're in a hurry running between meetings, at least wave at somebody. But
Right.
don't walk by somebody and just pretend that they're not there. People want to be noticed. People want to be feel like their leader knows who they are and knows that they're around. Stop by and visit. Know one thing more about them than their first and last name. And oftentimes, we have names on uniforms, and it's easy to just look at the uniform, lose eye contact, but I'd say be genuine and find out who your folks are. Learn something about them, because I think at some point you have something in common with every employee in that facility, whether it's
Yeah.
sports, whether it's kids, grandkids, pets, the last vacation you went on. It's not hard to find one common interest level and build a conversation that leads to a relationship that moves further. That's a key to retention. You hear a lot about people say people don't leave companies, they leave leaders. They leave lack of leaders. And so that's one quick one I'll throw out there in terms of just finding a way to connect with your employees quickly.
Yeah. And if you go into every conversation with an employee and just kind of put it out there, I'm going to learn one small thing about this employee, and that's the way that you're building these relationships. It's not sitting down and, putting them through the third degree, tell me your favorite hobbies and your favorite candy bar and your favorite this and your favorite that. And it just feels
Right?
like you're pummeling them with questions. It's like, what? Hey, what kind of music do you like? Or if you see somebody with earbuds in, it's really, oh, what station are you listening to? What kind of music are you listening to? So we can just look for little clues, I think, and have those types of conversations. The other,
What one
yeah,
trick I'll share with you,
oh,
Lisa,
sure, absolutely.
if you don't mind, is a
Oh,
quick
yeah.
example. When I moved into this last role 16 years ago, the office I had sat in was really formal, and it was like truly the principal's office, and I hated it. So we redecorated. We didn't spend money on it, but we just threw stuff on it. And you can see some of the things in my background that I threw on. There's family pictures. It was sports. It was, I play in a band, so it was musical instruments, dot, dot, dot. But I tried to find something that if someone stuck their head in, they could see very visually I can see the kids, or I can see a guitar. So I threw some NASCARs up there, and General Mills sponsored NASCARs through our Wheaties brand, and we actually sponsored Dale Earnhardt Sr. at the time. And then it continued through different drivers. But I had these NASCARs up there, and so every Monday morning I had a couple of mechanics that would stop in with a cup of coffee, and we'd talk about NASCAR, and it would turn into be a 40-minute conversation about everything but NASCAR. So, but 2 months later, one of them says, "Hey, you don't know anything about NASCAR, do you?" I'm like, "I don't." "Do you care about NASCAR?" It's like, "I really don't, but I got you in my office, so here we go." Well, that kept going for years and years and years. And every so often they bring somebody else in, and we just sit around Monday morning and have a conversation. So creating that one quick click that connects you with somebody kind of leads to a lot of other stuff. And that NASCAR was able to do that. So when I retired from General Mills, I found a couple of these mechanics and gave them my cars, and we had a good laugh about it. Because at some point we just stopped talking about NASCAR and started talking about a lot of other things and had a lot of fun. So building relationships isn't hard. But I think it's essential to this whole theme around retention.
Well, you know what? And good for you for being honest with them, because how many people will try to sit there and suck up to them, go, yeah, I know all about NASCAR. And then they ask you this really super simple question. You're like,
Right.
You're totally busted anyway. Just coming out, I think, on that vulnerability, of letting people know that you're not all that in a bag of chips, and then they trust you more. Because like I said, if you would have had to try to fluff it up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan," and then you don't know, you can recite, like I can recite Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jr., and that's kind of it. And one of my best friends is huge NASCAR fan, so it is what it is.
It is, but this is an easy example of finding ways to connect with people. And I found that creating a space where I wasn't the principal, I was just another guy in the plant doing stuff that may be a little bit different, but no more important than anything else was doing. It really made an effort to make people feel valued around the work they did. And it's important to know that I didn't make cereal, I didn't sell cereal. I didn't do anything with it except for kind of create the organization and kind of help nurture the culture around it. But we had people that actually made the product that was closest to our consumers. So guess who's the most valuable person in the plant? Well, it's not me. It's the person actually making it and closest to our consumer. And you always want to make sure people felt valued around being close to that consumer, because they're the ones that made that engine go.
What I really liked, and I think that anybody who's watching this broadcast can think about, when you walk into your office, if you did not know you from Adam, and somebody walked into your office, would they feel like they were going into the principal's office? Or would they feel that there was some level of comfort there, that, this is a person who has a family and who has hobbies and who that I can connect with? And again, something that costs no money, just a little bit of creativity. And also from, again, that leadership kind of getting to know you type of thing. I'm going to share that, hey, I'm in a band, here's my music, here's what I like. Maybe some other things like with the NASCAR that maybe you didn't like, but you knew other people did. So it's a conversation starter. There's just lots of things that you can do. It just comes with this creativity.
Right.
And that's really what the Employee Retention Summit is all about. If you haven't signed up yet, go to the link that will be in this post, and it's below, employeeretentionsummit.com. We have people like Rue and other manufacturers that are going to be sharing specifically what they did at their plant, big plants, little plants, to really focus on the culture and focus on retention. We have programs that are geared more to leadership. We have sessions that are geared more to getting the most out of your employees. And then we also have some ones that are strictly more of a professional or a personal development. And I wanted to do all of the above, because when we're looking at employee retention, it's not just about the employee. It's taking into effect everything. You as a leader, your relationship, what your, the mood that you're coming in when you're walking into the plant in the morning, all of these things going together and making those resources available. So the Employee Retention Summit for Manufacturers, it's a free event. There's 25 experts over 3 days. But you don't have to come to all of them. If that seems a little intimidating, go through the schedule, put it on your calendar to come through the ones that you want, and you're going to have access for 24 hours to come and see the recording. So maybe you wanted to see Rue, but you have a meeting coming up at that time, come back and watch them. So I'm really excited. Rue and I met a year ago when we both shared the stage at Women in Manufacturing. We became fast friends. And he does so many things well that I'm just really excited to share his brilliance with you next week, November 9th to the 11th at the Employee Retention Summit for Manufacturers. So again, Rue, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you at the summit.
Lisa, thank you so much. I think it's going to be amazing. Rock
Yes,
on.
it is.